Hey everybody, this video is mainly going to be about my Tenopoma acutirostra. You can see in the back of the tank there. I don't know how well we're going to get a look at it before it dashes away, but we're going to try so we know what we're talking about. So on the side that's facing us, he is missing a scale, but on the side that is facing away from us that we might get a glimpse of, you'll see that little white patch. Well, hopefully you got a little glimpse of that white patch. Oh, there he is. He's still available. So you can see that white patch on the side. So that is another spot where he's missing a scale, but that spot has a little bit of infection and some fungus is growing on it. So I've been treating the tank with Canaplex for the last 4 days, and it started to show a little bit of improvement at first, but now it is looking all fuzzy again. And so I think I am going to give the tank a few days. I just did a big water change on it. Got all of the Canaplex out of there. I did about a 50% water change, so I got a lot of the Canaplex out of there. And we're going to give it a couple days, let the tank settle down, and then I'm going to try treating it with the body and fin cure that I tried on my big angelfish down here not long ago. I had a little fungal infection on the side of this angelfish, and I used the body and fin cure for a few days and it cleared right up, and I've not had a single issue with this fish since. And so I thought maybe the Canaplex might be a good option. I had some on hand, I used it, we've done it for 4 days, and I got no real improvement over the course of that 4 days apparently. Again, started to look like it was doing better, but then turned back around. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to put some salt in the aquarium. I checked. I do have some carbonates in this tank. I have about 3 degrees carbonate hardness. My pH is about 6.4, maybe 6.5. All that stuff is good. I actually just did a big water change today. The nitrate's probably 40 parts or 30 parts per million, so the dissolved solids are low. The tank is nice and clean, but I don't have a whole lot of dissolved solids in it, and so I'm going to add some sodium. Now, 125 teaspoons of salt is a lot of salt. In fact, it's more than 2.5 cups of salt. And what we're going to put in there is a little bit less than 1/2 cup. In fact, I will show you how much we're going to be putting in there. Alright, just for ease of demonstration, I have first put it in this drinking glass. I'm going to go ahead and mix it up into something bigger so we're not pouring actual salt. I always want to, oops, sorry, I touched the glass. You can see the way those fish jumped like that, and I barely touched the glass. So let that be a lesson to you, everybody. Do not tap the glass. It is not good. Very, very stressful for fish. That was my bad. I'm looking at my viewfinder rather than my actual hand, and that's exactly what I did. I gave a little tiny bump on the glass. So now you can see a little better look at what I'm talking about if the discus would get out of the way. So his swelling has gone down some. He's not so bloated anymore. He still is a little bit bloated, but not nearly what he was. But that fuzzy spot is still bothering me. That's clearly an infection where that scale came off. And so again, we're going to be putting this much salt in there. That's just regular old non-iodized table salt that I get at the Walmart. It's the Great Value brand. It's just plain sodium chloride. There's nothing in it except a tiny little bit of anti-caking agent, which is so tiny amount, and it's pretty much inert, so that's absolutely negligible to say the least. So let's go get that little bit of salt dissolved, and we will put that in there. I don't know if that looks like a lot to you, but that does not look like a whole lot to me. Remember, 1 teaspoon per gallon would equal 2.6 cups of salt. This is less than 1/2 cup. So I'm going way low on the sodium scale. I think the discus and the plants and everything will be just fine in here. So let's get that mixed up, and then we'll go ahead and dump it in the tank. Alright everybody, it actually dissolved into a surprisingly little amount of water, but again, that's just not a whole lot of salt that we're going to be putting in here. So I did dissolve this into really warm water, so I was able to dissolve it quicker, and we should be able to see it pour in there and see the distortion in the water. See how weird and different the water looks. Alright, so that is some salt in the tank. And hopefully that will get everything, a little bit of extra sodium in there. So the reason I'm putting the salt in the tank, if you're wondering, is twofold. For one, the higher levels of sodium make it more difficult for the fungus to grow. I really don't think I'm putting enough sodium in there to make a difference on that. And yes, that huge fat bloated gourami is still alive. We can talk about that later. I will be doing a live stream Sunday night, so we can maybe talk about that, or rather Friday night, where we have open discussion. Anyway, check out my live streams Friday and Sunday night, and subscribe if you're not already, all that good stuff. I will be talking about that big bloated gourami here in the very near future. But again, I don't think I put enough sodium in there to make any kind of difference medicinally. I don't think it's going to affect that fungus. I don't think it's going to affect that gourami. And I don't think it's going to be enough to affect the little bit of bloating that I've got going on with the tenopoma. That's not the reason I'm putting the salt in there. The reason I'm putting the salt in there is because fish need sodium. It's an important electrolyte, and they need to draw it out of the water. And even fish that live in the softest water and most acidic water with the purest, lowest dissolved solids, even those fish need to pull sodium out of the water. And it takes energy for their body to do so. So if they're ill, or they're stressed, or they're recovering from something, or they're being medicated, any situation like that where you can ease the amount of energy your fish's body is using, the better off the fish is going to be. Think about it like when you're sick and you just want to sleep. Your body is conserving that energy for more important stuff, like, letting your immune system do its thing, and that takes a lot of energy. And so this is a similar sort of situation to that. You're just providing very, very easy access to sodium. You're putting plenty of sodium in the water so the fish don't have to work nearly as hard to draw it out of there, and it just relieves some of the stress off of them. It's also good for their slime coat. And again, I'm hoping we can have some positive effect by putting a little bit of salt in here. With the discus and being planted, I don't want to go too heavy on the salt. So I started way on the low end, and we'll see what happens from there. And we'll just play it by ear. But again, I'm going to give it a few days, and then we're going to be medicating this tank anyway with some very colorful medication. So make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss that. It'll be coming up here in a few days. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I will see you real soon on the next one.